being in, you move around just the general population, and you see people that like drink all the time and smoke all the time. And by no means am I saying I'm like this like pinnacle of like health, but like I'm in good shape, work out 4 or 5 days a week, jujitsu, diet's awesome. Right. So I don't smoke. That's the big one. Smoking is the one that like ages you hard. Right.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
So, don't have like a hard lifestyle in regards to, alternative substances. So
yeah.
So,
well, that really
so when
does
somebody's,
age you.
yeah, it does. So when I, especially like when I worked in bars and clubs for so long, I would see people. The funny one was when I would run into people like I went to high school with when I was still living in the area where I grew up, and they would come in and I didn't really recognize them. I'd see an ID. And I was like, oh, and they're like, hey, I went to high school with you. And I'm looking at them like, holy shit, what happened to you over the last 10 years? And this is like at 28, 30, 32. And it's just like, you've had a rough 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the number isn't really a big thing anymore, man.
No.
It's really the quality of life, like where you're at. Like, somebody's like, you don't look 42. And I was like, well, what does 42 look like? Like, what does 49 look like? Yeah.
It is a good question. People used to tell my wife and I all the time, like, you guys look like you're in your 30s. I mean, and this was just up until, and it's not bragging again, like a year or two ago, it's kind of declined. And I think that has to do with some wrinkles. and so I'm like, okay, so that's happening. But again, don't drink. I don't live that hard lifestyle, never have. And I think that makes, it does make a big difference. But man, last year I took my wife to Costa Rica for our 25th wedding anniversary. And I was just like, man, I wish every man would just do something like this. Him and his wife would just go away. And have you guys done a big out of country trip before?
No. So this is our first one. Yeah. So this is May 20th. So this was like our anniversary trip. So May 20th is our 15-year anniversary. We've been together almost 19 years. And then, it's weird to hear you say it's your 25th anniversary.
Dude, we were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Got married right out of college.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, it doesn't even sound like you're old enough to have a 25th anniversary. 25, like quarter of a century, right? That's crazy. Yeah. So, but but with 5 kids, all being younger, getting someone to watch 5 kids is no easy endeavor. I mean, we even like looked a couple years back at parceling them off. Like, okay, the boy goes over here, and then we'll have her, maybe her sister or brother come into town and watch these 3, and just, it never really worked out. And then finally, like, okay, we have to just plan it and do it. And the time it worked out well, where my sister and brother-in-law were staying with us for a little while as they transitioned out of California and they're moving out to Nashville. So, and, so we're like, hey, can you guys watch the kids for a week since you're staying with us for a couple months? And they're like, yeah, it'd be great. So it was literally our first. Yeah. And then once hell, just even on the plane, we were like, there's no kids. Like, what do we,
just us,
just us. It was great. Yeah. So it's literally our first trip in 10 years solo. Besides, like 5 years ago, we did like an overnighter when we were in Washington to Canada. That was like 3 hours. We flew her brother up just to come stay the weekend with the kids. It was before Phoebe was born, so it was only 4 kids. So
only 4.
Yeah.